At first glance, it looks like another moment of public grief. Another appearance meant to reassure everyone that everything is exactly as it seems. But if you slow it down, if you really watch, you'll notice something most people missed. Erika Kirk isn't alone. She's never alone. In this newly surfaced footage, the same woman appears again standing close, guiding movements, controlling access, and quietly positioning herself where family, friends, or genuine support should be. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Tonight, we're breaking down that footage frame by frame, examining body language, proximity, power dynamics, and why this woman keeps appearing at the most sensitive moments. No accusations, no conclusions, just patterns, timelines, and facts that raise serious questions. Before we get into it, take a second to like this video, share it, and subscribe if you value deep dive true crime analysis that lets you decide what's really going on. And as you're watching, comment below with your thoughts and let us know where you're watching from. Now, let's start with what the public was supposed to see and what this footage accidentally revealed. Up until now, the public narrative has been simple. Erika Kirk is portrayed as a grieving widow, someone trying to hold herself together while navigating unimaginable loss under an intense spotlight. Every appearance, every speech, every carefully staged moment reinforces that image: resilience, sorrow, and strength. And for most viewers, that's where the story ends. But this new footage changes the conversation not because of what Erika says, but because of who is always there, where they stand, and how they move. True crime analysis isn't about what's loud. It's about what repeats. In this footage, the same woman appears once again at Erika's side, not in the background. Not off to the side, but close enough to guide, anchor, and subtly control the moment. This isn't a one-off appearance. It's a pattern that stretches across multiple events, multiple locations, and multiple emotional flashpoints. And that's why this matters. Because when a single figure consistently replaces family, blocks access, or positions themselves as the primary point of comfort and control, it raises a question true crime analysts always ask. Is this support, or is this management? Let's slow this footage down. Not emotionally, mechanically. Watch the positioning first. Erika enters the frame, and almost immediately, the same woman steps into place beside her. Not a step behind. Not slightly off to the side. Close. Close enough to guide direction. To control pace. To subtly influence where Erika stops and where she doesn't. Now notice the hands. When Erika pauses, the woman pauses. When Erika turns, the woman turns first or nudges her too. This isn't random movement. In true crime analysis, this is called mirroring with authority, not comfort. Look at the eye contact. Erika's eyes scan the room. The woman's eyes scan people. One is processing emotion. The other is assessing environment. That distinction matters. And then there's proximity during still moments. When cameras stop flashing and the room settles, the woman doesn't step away. She closes the gap, shoulder to shoulder, anchored, almost as if separation isn't an option. Ask yourself this. If this were purely emotional support, wouldn't there be moments of distance? Moments where family, friends, or space itself takes over. But those moments never come. Instead, what we see again and again is consistent placement, controlled movement, and an unmistakable pattern of presence. And patterns are never judged in isolation. They're judged in repetition. So who is this woman? Publicly, she's presented as a supporter, a trusted presence. Someone helping Erika navigate overwhelming moments during an emotionally charged time. On paper, there's nothing unusual about that. But true crime analysis doesn't stop at titles or surface explanations. It looks at function, not description. This woman isn't appearing occasionally. She isn't rotating in and out like friends or extended support usually do. She is consistently present during ceremonies, during transit, during speeches, during moments that are supposed to be private and unguarded. And more importantly, she occupies the same physical space every time. Closest proximity, primary comfort, immediate access. In many public situations, she appears closer to Erika than family members. That's not an accusation, it's an observable fact from the footage itself. Ask yourself this. When grief is real and organic, support tends to expand outward. Different people step in at different moments. But when control is involved, support contracts around a single point. And here, that point is always the same woman. In true crime analysis, one of the most important distinctions we make is between support and control. Support adapts. It steps back when appropriate. It allows space for family, emotion, and unpredictability. Control, on the other hand, is consistent. It positions itself the same way every time, regardless of setting or circumstance. Now look back at the footage with that lens. This woman doesn't drift in and out of frame. She doesn't alternate roles with others. She doesn't defer to family during emotionally significant moments. Instead, she maintains the same role across every appearance, closest proximity, steady presence, and subtle directional influence. There's also the issue of timing. She appears most prominently when narratives matter during speeches, ceremonies, arrivals, departures, and moments where cameras are guaranteed to be present. That's not when emotional support is most needed. That's when message management matters most. And notice what doesn't happen. There are no unscripted breaks. No moments where Erika is allowed to move freely without immediate adjustment. No visible handoff of responsibility. The consistency is almost clinical. Again, this doesn't prove intent. It doesn't assign motive. But it does establish a pattern, and in true crime, patterns are where the truth usually hides. Now, this is where the analysis moves beyond body language and into influence. Because proximity alone doesn't mean power. But proximity combined with access, authority, and institutional shielding does. Publicly, this woman holds titles connected to development, fundraising, or organizational strategy. Titles that, on the surface, sound administrative, neutral, even boring. But in practice, these roles often sit at the intersection of money, donors, and decision-making. And in true crime analysis, money doesn't just motivate, it protects. What's notable here is how fluid her professional identity appears to be. Job titles change. Descriptions shift. At times, she's highly visible. At other times, she's almost impossible to find. Yet, her physical presence beside Erika never changes. That inconsistency matters. Because people without influence don't get quietly removed from records. And people without power aren't allowed to remain this close to the center of every sensitive moment without question. This isn't about wealth alone. It's about access to donors, access to leadership, access to narrative control. The kind of access that allows someone to operate in the background while shaping outcomes in the foreground. And once money and influence enter the picture, emotional support becomes a much smaller part of the equation. True crime doesn't rely solely on observation. Evidence is key and, in this case, the paper trail raises serious questions. Public records, financial disclosures, and archive websites show a pattern of visibility and disappearance. At times, she appears on organizational charts, on official filings, and even in donor communications. At other times, she's quietly erased from forms. Missing from filings, absent from what should be public documentation. Why does this matter? Because transparency is the backbone of accountability. When someone is repeatedly present in public events but inconsistently documented behind the scenes, it signals a potential mismatch between public role and actual influence. Archived web pages snapshots preserved over time confirm her presence when official records claim otherwise. And insider reports suggest she holds access to both the organization's leadership and its donor base. A combination that magnifies influence far beyond her title. Again, this isn't about naming guilt. It's about establishing a pattern, persistent presence, fluctuating public records, and unusual access. Patterns that, when considered alongside behavior, create a strong basis for concern and curiosity. Patterns gain meaning when placed in time. Let's map the key moments. From ceremonies to public appearances, from speeches to arrivals and departures, the same woman is present at every pivotal juncture. She's there during moments meant for grieving families, moments meant for candid interaction, and moments under media scrutiny. What's important is the sequence. She consistently positions herself at the center before cameras are rolling. During speeches, and in moments of maximum visibility, she is never caught off guard. She does not step back. She does not relinquish control. Now, consider timing in a broader sense. Any changes in organizational transparency disappearances from filings. Title shifts. Archived web pages happen concurrently with her sustained public presence. These are not isolated incidents. They form a pattern of escalating influence aligned with critical moments in public perception. But it magnifies questions. Consistency in presence paired with inconsistent documentation is a hallmark of careful orchestration. Whether intentional or systemic, the combination demands attention. True crime analysis isn't just about what people do, it's also about what they unintentionally reveal. In the footage, subtle gestures stand out. Quick hand movements, fleeting facial expressions, and timing mismatches between speech and emotion hint at something deeper than scripted support. For example, a rapid gesture like wiping a tear when no tear exists, or leaning in at moments that feel unnatural, can indicate performance rather than genuine emotion. Similarly, brief micro-expression smiles, grimaces, or glances may reveal awareness of the narrative being observed rather than participation in it. Notice also the consistency of these slips. They aren't random. They appear repeatedly across multiple events. In true crime psychology, repeated microbehaviors are often more telling than dramatic single moments. They suggest patterns of control, awareness, and performance. Importantly, none of this is proof of motive or intent. These are observations facts for viewers to consider. But patterns like these, combined with proximity, access, and institutional influence, add weight to the bigger picture we uncovering. Let's connect the dots. Across every event, every moment caught on camera, and every record we can examine, a pattern emerges. Consistent proximity. The same woman is always close to Erika, guiding movement and presence. Behavioral cues. Micro-expressions and gestures hint at orchestration rather than natural support. Timing alignment. She appears during every high-visibility moment, never missing a beat. Institutional influence. Job titles, access to donors. And inconsistent documentation suggests control beyond simple emotional support. Individually, each observation could seem minor. Taken together, however, they form a coherent picture of influence and management, a pattern that demands attention and analysis. And that is the essence of true crime investigation, not jumping to conclusions. Not assigning guilt, but highlighting facts and patterns that compel deeper scrutiny. The footage doesn't answer the question outright. It doesn't assign motive or label anyone. But when viewers step back and look at the totality of evidence, behavior, access, timing, and influence, it becomes difficult to ignore that something is occurring beyond what the public sees. I'm Detective B. If you're fascinated by real life, mysteries and criminal investigations, tap like, subscribe, and share your opinion in the comments. I'd love to know where you're watching from and what you think about today's case. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, in true crime, the line between fact and perception is often thinner than we realize.